It took the jury less than 3 hours to find Carmelo Anthony guilty of murder, and then another roughly 3 hours to determine that his punishment would be 35 years in prison. Now, on one hand, that sent a strong message that
a 19-year-old sits in a Texas prison cell, staring at 35 years. And his parents aren't angry at the jury. They're angry at the man who was supposed to save him. Here's what that looks like from the outside. A murder trial. A guilty verdict. A family destroyed. The system worked exactly the way it's supposed to. That's the official version. But now Carmelo Anthony's parents are telling a very different story. And the details are specific enough that they can't be dismissed.
Not a surprise. They say they do not believe that he intended to kill Austin Metcalf. Quote, "My son is no murderer. My son didn't intend to hurt anyone. My son was defending himself." That's Carmelo's mom, Kayla Hayes, telling CBS Texas. Now, Carmelo's parents also say they believe the trial was flawed and unfair.
Think about a ship being steered by a captain who won't let the crew speak. The passengers don't know they're sinking until the water is already at their feet. That's the image this family is painting of their son's defense. And once you hear what they're alleging, you can't unhear it. Before we go deeper into what the evidence actually shows, make sure you're subscribed to CrimeNest Media. Because we don't just cover the story, we follow the facts. According to Carmelo's mother, Kayla Hayes, in a public interview with CBS Texas, the family was given strict instructions throughout the trial. Don't speak. Don't engage. Don't talk to this person.
Differently, they said that they do not believe their son got a fair trial. Quote, "We got comfortable with the instructions that we were told. We were told not to say nothing. We were told not to do this, so we followed all the instructions that we were told. We were told, don't do this. Don't talk to this person. It was all this, and look what happened to my son," said Carmelo's dad, Drew.
They followed every instruction, and now their son is in the Navasota Texas State Prison, roughly 3.5 hours from where this entire tragedy began at a track meet in Frisco in April of 2025. The family's words, and these are public on record, were direct. Everyone lied on the stand. Everyone lied on the stand. That's not a grieving mother venting in private.
Texas. Now, Carmelo's parents also say they believe the trial was flawed and unfair. Quote, "Everyone actually lied on the stand," says Carmelo's mom. Now,
that is a formal accusation placed into the public record. In a separate interview with Power 105.1's Breakfast Club, also publicly available on YouTube, Carmelo's father, Drew Anthony, raised something that goes beyond courtroom strategy. He says the family was advised to hire a white attorney. It's unclear who gave that advice, but he believes race shaped the outcome of this trial.
Carmelo's dad also said that his son was told that they should not make this case about race, and that was by their attorney. But he said that he believed that race played a role in the outcome. He said the family was advised to get a white attorney. It's unclear who gave that advice. Now, the family also raised some concerns in that interview about there not being a black person on the jury.
As reported by Court TV's correspondent present in the courtroom, was predominantly white, with no black jurors seated.
In that interview about there not being a black person on the jury, we had a reporter in the courtroom throughout this trial, Cody Thomas of Court TV, and he reported that the jury was mostly white, wasn't all white, but mostly white. And there were 3 Asian women and 1 person who appeared to be of Middle Eastern descent and 1 other woman of color. The rest
under Texas law, that alone doesn't overturn a conviction. But it becomes legally significant if the defense can demonstrate that prosecutors used racially motivated strikes during jury selection. What the courts call a Batson challenge. Here's the ticking clock question nobody is asking loudly enough. If the very attorney chosen to protect Carmelo Anthony allegedly told the family not to make this about race, while the family believes race is exactly why he lost, then who was that defense strategy actually protecting? Everyone lied on the stand. The notice of appeal, filed in Collin County District Court and publicly accessible, contains one line that cuts through everything.
This is the notice of appeal. It's filed in Collin County District Court. That's where the trial took place. And in the notice it says, quote, "I am penniless, destitute, and indigent person, too poor to employ counsel to represent me on the appeal and too poor to pay for or give security of the statement of facts and a true copy thereof herein." So Anthony wants a court-appointed attorney for his
Carmelo Anthony describes himself as, quote, "penniless, destitute, and indigent, too poor to hire an attorney for his appeal." This is the same case where hundreds of thousands of dollars were reportedly raised for his defense. The fundraiser platform GiveSendGo confirmed publicly that those funds were dispersed for legal defense and family relocation.
But after Anthony's guilty verdict in that murder trial, the site brought his fundraiser down. And the reason they said was, quote, the fundraiser was to promote pretrial needs, and those funds were dispersed over the past year for lawful purposes, including legal defense and family relocation. With that,
the money is gone. The defense is over, and the appeal has no attorney yet. 6 witnesses called by the defense, 21 by the prosecution.
That is compared to the roughly, I think it was 21 witnesses that the state called as they presented their case. And in the Breakfast Club interview, the parents said they don't know why their attorney didn't call more witnesses. The Anthony family also says that they raised concerns with their defense attorney during the trial. They say after the trial, they were given a, quote, corporate answer by their defense about how things went. They didn't elaborate more on what corporate answer.
No use of force expert. No explanation for the knife beyond the fact that it was technically legal under Texas statute, and a defendant who never took the stand.
Why did Carmelo Anthony not testify? Carmelo's dad said, quote, based on everything, he didn't need nothing, because everything they said when it's self-defense, they have to prove it. They never proved it. Now, it is unclear if it was ever in the plans for Carmelo to testify in this trial, and whether
everyone lied on the stand. Judge John Roach, speaking publicly to WFAA-TV in Dallas, stood by both the verdict and the jury. He said, and this is on record, that Carmelo Anthony seems like a nice young man who committed a crime.
Judge John Roach of the 296th District Court says that he stands by the verdict that was found in his courtroom. He spoke to WFAA-TV in Dallas, and he said in this interview something about Carmelo Anthony that we weren't expecting, considering the guilty verdict in this murder trial. Roach said that he stands by his decision as well not to allow cameras in the courtroom, saying, I know I made people mad, but I'm not here to make them happy either.
That phrase, nice young man who committed a crime, tells you everything about how the court sees this case. Closed. Finished. Decided. The family does not see it that way.
But they also said that they are looking for a new attorney for the appeal of their son's guilty verdict in this murder trial. In the interview, the family was also asked, I think, a pretty big question, and one that many people, no matter what you feel about the verdict, are wondering. Why
they are searching for new appellate counsel right now. Pull up the publicly filed notice of appeal in Collin County District Court. Read that one line about being penniless. Then ask yourself this in the comments: if hundreds of thousands of dollars were raised for this defense, where exactly did it go? If this case matters to you, like this video, share it, subscribe to CrimeNest Media, and turn on notifications. Because this story is not over.